All right, listeners, ready to dive deep. This time, we're tackling Oedipus Rex, a classic Athenian tragedy by Sophocles.
Oh yeah, Oedipus.
If you're a literature student or just love a good story, you are in for a treat. We're going to break down why this play still matters, even after centuries. And trust me, get ready for some serious aha moments.
Yeah, Oedipus Rex, it's packed with twists, turns, and timeless themes, you know.
But before we go any further, let's set the stage.
Right.
What's the deal with this play? Why is it so important?
Well, what's really fascinating is that Oedipus Rex isn't a standalone story. It's actually chronologically set before Antigone.
Okay, so it's like a prequel.
Yeah, like a prequel, another play by Sophocles, you know.
So even if you know Antigone, this deep dive is going to give you a whole new perspective.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so where does this whole tragic journey begin?
Well, it starts with Oedipus,
Oedipus.
King of Thebes, famous for his intelligence.
Oh, right, the guy who solved the riddle of the Sphinx.
Exactly. But, you see, behind that brilliant facade, there's a family history shrouded in darkness.
Oh, yeah, that infamous curse. It's like something straight out of a Greek myth.
It all goes back to Laius, Oedipus's father. Now, Laius committed a horrific crime,
What did he do?
kidnapping and raping Chrysippus.
Whoa.
This act violated Xenia, the sacred bond of hospitality in ancient Greek culture.
Xenia. What's that?
You see, in ancient Greece, welcoming strangers and treating them with respect, it was super important.
I see.
Like, so important that violating it, it was an offense against Zeus himself.
So messing with Xenia was basically like asking for divine payback.
Exactly, and that's where Apollo comes in. He cursed Laius, declaring that, he would be killed by his own son.
Oh, wow.
This sets the stage for this, chain of events that are just tragic and in many ways seemingly unavoidable.
This is where that whole trying to cheat fate thing comes in, right?
Right. Laius, he tried to, outmaneuver fate. He ordered his newborn son's feet to be bound.
Oh, so that's how Oedipus got his name.
That's how he got his name, yeah. And then he was left on a mountainside to die.
Wow.
But as we know, fate, well, it has a way of, intervening.
It always has its own plans. So Oedipus is rescued, raised by another family, completely oblivious to his true parentage.
Right.
But then he gets his own terrifying prophecy from the Delphic Oracle. Talk about bad news.
The oracle foretells that Oedipus is destined to, kill his father and marry his mother.
Ugh, yikes.
Oedipus, just like Laius, he tries to escape his fate, He flees from the people he believes are his parents.
It's like that saying, you can't run from destiny. Like, the more you try to avoid it, the more it pulls you in.
Exactly. And it leads him straight down a path that fulfills the prophecy. He ends up on the road to Thebes. And, this is where things get really interesting.
Hey, what happens?
He encounters an old man, right? And, spoiler alert, it's Laius.
Oh, no.
They get into a conflict, and Oedipus ends up fulfilling the first part of the prophecy.
Wait, so he actually kills his own father
Oh.
without even knowing it?
It's a perfect example of how fate and free will are, intertwined in this play. You see, the prophecy didn't force Oedipus to kill Laius. He made a choice in that moment. A choice that tragically aligned with the prophecy.
This whole concept of fate versus free will is already blowing my mind. But let's not forget about the Sphinx. Oedipus isn't done facing challenges, is he?
Oh, not at all. Next, Oedipus encounters the Sphinx, this terrifying creature plaguing Thebes. Think of the Sphinx as a symbol of wisdom, strength, mystery.
Okay, I'm with you.
Her riddle. It represents a challenge that no one could solve.
Until Oedipus.
Right? Our hero's intellect saves the day. He cracks the riddle, frees Thebes from the Sphinx's terror, and as a reward, he's crowned king and marries the widowed queen, Jocasta.
Okay, so he becomes king, marries the queen. Seems like a happy ending, right?
Not so fast. There it is. The final piece of the prophecy falls into place.
What do you mean?
Oedipus has unknowingly married his own mother.
Oh, wow. Talk about a plot twist.
It creates this incredible sense of suspense. You see, we, the audience, we know the truth from the start, but Oedipus.
He's totally in the dark.
Exactly. It's what we call dramatic irony.
Right.
And just when you think it can't get any more complicated, Thebes is struck by a plague.
Oh, no.
And Oedipus, being the responsible king he is, sets out to find the cause and punish the one responsible.
He's determined to save his city, little knowing that the answers he seeks, they're deeply intertwined with his own past. I bet this is where things get even more intense.
Oh, you have no idea. So Oedipus, he's a man of action,
Right.
but he's also deeply committed to justice. So he summons the blind prophet, Tiresias. seeking guidance.
Tiresias, okay.
Now, Tiresias, he might be blind physically, but
But
he has this deeper sight, a vision that sees beyond the surface.
oh, I see where you're going with this. It's like that whole theme of sight versus blindness that runs through the play.
Yeah, exactly.
Tiresias, even without physical sight, he can see the truth. That Oedipus, with his perfect vision, remains blind to.
Precisely. And Tiresias, he just drops his bombshell. He accuses Oedipus of being the source of the plague, the very murderer he's seeking.
Whoa. So Oedipus, what does he think about that?
Of course, Oedipus, he doesn't believe him. He even suspects his brother-in-law, Creon, of plotting against him.
The irony is almost painful. Oedipus, the savior of Thebes, is now so blind to the truth that he's suspicious of everyone around him.
His inability to see the truth about himself, it's what drives the tragedy forward.
Right.
So then Jocasta comes in, trying to calm him down,
Yeah.
She tries to discredit prophecies, sharing a story about an oracle that seemingly didn't come true. She claims that she and Laius, they were told their son would kill him. But bandits murdered Laius at a crossroads.
Hold on, crossroads. That's a pretty significant detail.
Okay.
Didn't Oedipus mention a crossroads earlier?
It's not just a random detail. Crossroads, they're like these recurring motifs in Oedipus Rex representing moments of decision and fate.
Ah, okay, so it's like a symbol.
Yeah. And Oedipus, he starts having these flashbacks, to his encounter on the road. The fight, the killing, the seeds of doubt, they're sown.
This is where things get really suspenseful.
Mm.
You can practically feel the walls closing in on Oedipus as the truth just gets closer and closer.
Right.
Yeah.
So Oedipus, consumed by suspicion now, right?
Yeah.
He wants the full story of Laius's murder. He sends for the only surviving witness, a shepherd. While Jocasta, sensing the impending doom,
Yeah.
she begs him to stop digging.
But Oedipus, he's relentless. He needs to know the truth, no matter how devastating. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. You know what's about to happen, but you can't tear your eyes away.
Right. And then a messenger arrives from Corinth.
Okay. What does he say?
He brings news that Polybus, Oedipus's adoptive father, has died. This shall be a moment of grief, but Oedipus feels relieved.
Relieved. Why?
Because he thinks this disproves the prophecy. You see, he can no longer kill his father.
Oh, I see. But the fear of marrying his mother, that still haunts him.
Exactly. It's like one piece of the puzzle has fallen into place, but the bigger picture,
Right.
still terrifyingly unclear.
Right.
And this is where things get even more twisted.
Okay. Go on.
The messenger, wanting to comfort Oedipus, he reveals that Merope, the woman Oedipus believes, is his mother.
Yeah.
She isn't his biological parent.
Oh, wow.
He found Oedipus as a baby on Mount Cithaeron and gave him to Polybus.
Okay, so now we've got two shepherds, two abandoned infants. A whole lot of dramatic irony swirling around. This can't end well.
So Oedipus, desperate to uncover the truth about his birth, he sends for the shepherd who witnessed Laius's murder. Little does he know. It's the same shepherd who rescued him as a baby.
Oh my gosh. So what happens as he figure it out?
Jocasta, she sees the train wreck coming.
Yeah.
And she pleads with Oedipus to just stop his investigation. But it's too late. The wheels are in motion. The truth is about to come crashing down.
This is intense.
The shepherd arrives. And it's like the climax of a thriller.
I can imagine.
His hesitation, his fear, it adds to this mounting tension. And when he finally reveals that the infant he gave away was Laius' own son, the full weight of the prophecy hits Oedipus like a ton of bricks.
So the truth is finally out. All the pieces of the puzzle have fallen into place, revealing that horrific reality. Oedipus has killed his father and married his mother, fulfilling the very prophecy he so desperately tried to avoid.
The consequences, devastating. Jocasta, unable to bear the truth, takes her own life. And Oedipus, driven to madness, makes a choice that's both shocking and deeply symbolic.
He blinds himself, right?
He blinds himself, using the pins from Jocasta's dress.
I remember reading that it was seen as a, symbolic transformation.
Exactly. It's a physical manifestation of his inner turmoil, an acknowledgement of his blindness to the truth, his inability to escape fate. It's almost as if he's saying, I was blind when I had sight, and now I can only truly see when I'm blind.
Wow, that's a powerful image. It's like that whole theme of sight and blindness is flipped on its head in this final act.
And remember how Tiresias said earlier, you have eyes but cannot see?
Yeah, I remember that.
That line. It takes on a whole new meaning now. It's one of the things that makes Oedipus Rex such a masterpiece. It's layered with symbolism and deeper meaning.
So what happens next? Does Oedipus just wander around blindly for the rest of his days?
Well, Oedipus, now both physically and metaphorically stripped bare, accepts the consequences of his actions.
Okay.
He's exiled from Thebes, leaving behind the shattered remnants of his life. Creon takes over the throne, and Oedipus's children, they're left to deal with the fallout of their family's tragic fate.
It's a bleak ending, for sure, but I have a feeling there's a lot more to unpack here. Oedipus Rex isn't just a story about a man who made some terrible mistakes, you know.
Right.
It's a story that forces us to confront some of life's biggest questions.
Yeah, it really makes you think. Oedipus Rex isn't just some story about a man who made some terrible, unintentional choices. It's more than that.
It makes you think about fate, free will, and even what it means to really understand ourselves and the world around us.
It's a story that has resonated with audiences for centuries because it really grapples with these huge questions. Even though it was written thousands of years ago, Oedipus Rex, it still feels incredibly relevant.
It makes you wonder if, in a world where we so often feel like we're at the mercy of forces we can't control, maybe Oedipus's story is a cautionary tale.
It is cautionary, but it also offers, I think, a glimmer of hope. Even when facing unimaginable suffering, there's potential for growth, self-discovery, and even finding meaning in the chaos.
So if you had to sum up Oedipus Rex, what would you say its message is?
I'd say it reminds us that even the most intelligent and capable people, they can be blind to their own flaws and the impact of their choices.
It's like the play is asking us, is Oedipus a victim of fate, or is he responsible for his actions? It's a question that has been debated for centuries.
Yeah, and it's one that, we, the audience, have to grapple with ourselves.
That's the power of literature. It challenges us to think critically, to question things, and ultimately to understand the human condition a little bit better.
Absolutely.
So for all you lit students out there, this deep dive into Oedipus Rex, it's just the beginning. Keep exploring Greek tragedy and those Theban plays. And remember, Oedipus's story, it's just one piece of a much larger and incredibly fascinating puzzle.
It really is. And, never underestimate the power of a good story. To make you think, to make you question, and to see the world in a whole new light.
That's the beauty of a deep dive, isn't it? It sparks your curiosity and gives you that foundation to explore these incredible works of literature even further. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, listeners. We'll catch you next time.